Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about the comics accurate Wolverine costume. Yes, it's been like what, 22, 23 years, and we finally get to see the classic comic costume on the big screen. Now, we've been teased this before, the very first X-Men movie, when Hugh Jackman and Wolverine was all like, do you all go out in yellow spandex or something like that? No, he said like, y'all really go out in this, and Cyclops was all like, what do you prefer, yellow spandex? And then of course in the Wolverine movie, we got that tease at the very end where we got to see the gloves and the mask, and that was a nice mask and that was nice gloves. But here is something completely different. For Deadpool 3, Ryan Reynolds went with the blue and yellow costume. Now, it is not the classic OG costume. That costume was more of a brownish beige kind of color. Then, of course, we got the yellow and blue in the comics that we later on saw in the X-Men cartoon, with the trunks, the red belt, the flares on the boots, and like the really huge horn things on the mask. But once again, that's not even this costume. I would say this is more in league with the Astonishing X-Men comic. I believe that's what it was called. The one where it was Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Emma Frost, and the cat-looking beast, and Cyclops wearing all black. It looks more similar to that costume. And, I really dig that costume. I think it was a great modern edition of the costume. It was shown in Wolverine and the X-Men. And it was just a really nice costume. Personally, I would prefer yellow on black. But hey, that's just me. But, it looks cool. And they look great side by side. And, it does look a little corny, but it also looks really cool and stuff. You have more of the militant type boots from like, that one comic I just told you about. There are some differences, like, the gloves aren't completely blue. It's more of a darker kind of blue, almost black. The yellow bands aren't there, but they're around like the thumb area. And he has the little silver prawn things that, his claws come out of. I've been wanting to see that for the longest time. However, since the prawn things are coming out near, like, the back part of his hand, does that mean he's going to have thinner claws that come out back there? Or he's still going to have his claws that come from the knuckle? Only one can tell. Now, it appears to have a mask, but it's pulled back. And I think the costume just looks great. It's a nice shade of yellow. It's a nice shade of blue. They're out in the daytime. However, there are some things that do kind of bug me. The yellow belt is a little distracting. It would need something to offset it, but it's like fine, like whatever. My major gripes with this costume is, one, the shoulder pads. They look a little odd. Like, I never really wanted to see the shoulder pads on Wolverine's costume. I think just a regular, like, sleeveless type thing would have been fine. Speaking of the sleeves, I'm sorry, those yellow sleeves are killing this outfit in a bad, bad way. He does not look good with the sleeves. Wolverine has normally been a person who wore like sleeveless outfits. You need the bare arms. It helps sets off like the rest of the colors. When it's just all that yellow on yellow, it's very odd and bizarre. It just don't look right. And my guess is the reason why Hugh Jackman doesn't have it. I'm assuming he hasn't hit the gym as hard as he used to. Because people keep complaining about the first X-Men movie about how small he is. And after those movies, of course, he like jacked up real big. Now, but just the sleeve, they gotta go. They have to go. They look hideous on this costume. And my last gripe is the hair. I want a traditional Wolverine hairstyle. The weird looking horn things like he had in the second and third X-Men movie. like, high up. I don't care how silly it looks, just make it look right. I don't like this teeny tiny haircut he's been sporting ever since the Wolverine movie. It just drives me nuts. This is basically Hugh Jackman just doesn't want to do his hair the way he has to do it, you know what I'm saying? And that's getting on my nerves. Other than that, I think it looks fine. I would like to see mutton chops without a beard, but it does look great with the beard. And if the hair is really tiny, most likely the little horn things are going to be very tiny too. Because of like, that's how it was in that one comic I told you about. And it works fine for that comic. But I want to see big, long horn looking things sticking up. I want a Wolverine look, you know what I'm saying? And it makes you wonder, is it gonna have pupils in the eyes, or is it gonna be like cut out? Like, what is it gonna be? Deadpool has white pupils in his mask. I wonder if Wolverine's gonna have his too. I honestly believe with the eyes shown, it's gonna look bizarre, and I don't want that. But it is cool to finally get the classic, well, one of the classic like costumes. Don't get me wrong, I love the black Fox X-Men costume. I think they're really cool, very militant looking. But it is nice to splash in a little color here and there. However, the true 90s X-Men cartoon costumes, I never want to see that on the big screen. It will look too weird looking. Like, it would just look a little too corny. They tried to do it in that one second X-Men movie, the Apocalypse one. It kinda was okay, but not really. It just looks weird. It just looked like crayons and stuff. But yeah, it's just, I think, because with the 90s costume, some look like costumes and other look like regular clothes that can be mistaken for costumes. And I'm just not feeling that look. But this is great. We finally get to see this costume, and who hasn't want to seen it, man? Like, it's such a great costume. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.